Alrighty, y'all. The regular season is less than 2 weeks away. I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited as well. Leading up to the first game of the season, I'm going to be dropping a bunch of videos where I'm going to go through the entire Kings roster and kind of talk about what I'm expecting to see from them or what I hope to see from them in this upcoming season. I'll talk a little bit about their role, their stats from last year, and what I'm projecting them to do this season. Now, I'm not going to try and predict stats or anything because I think that's just a losing battle. But essentially, the question I'm trying to answer is what does this player have to do in order for me to be happy? Because, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, making me happy. So, what does De'Aaron Fox need to do this season for me to be happy? Well, one, he needs to stay healthy, which, I'll probably end up saying that about every single player that I talk about. But especially for Fox, you always want your star player to be out there as often as possible. And last season, he played 72 games, and that includes like when we had already locked up the 3 seed. I don't think he played in those last 2 or 3 games. I could be wrong. But in order for us to get home court advantage in the playoffs, he's going to need to play at least 80% of the games, which I think he's very capable of. He doesn't have a huge injury history or anything like that. Another thing that Fox can do that would make me very happy is to be an all-star again. And I think that's very doable as well, especially with Damian Lillard out of the picture now. He's over on the Bucks. So I'm fully expecting, as long as he stays healthy, for De'Aaron Fox to become a 2-time All-Star this season. And while I fully expect him to make another All-Star team this year, I do think it's going to be a little harder for him to make another All-NBA team. However, an award that I think he can very well get again is the Clutch Player of the Year award. And while I don't necessarily need him to win it again, I do think it'll be important that he's at least in the conversation because, that's a huge part of why we were successful last year is because we had a guy to give the ball to in the last 5 minutes in close games and just let him do his thing and lead us to victory. Now, there's been a lot of talk of De'Aaron Fox entering the superstar conversation, and as much as I love the guy, I don't know how realistic that is, and I guess that depends on your definition of superstar, but to me, there's maybe 10 to 15 superstars in the entire league, household names. And shoot, he was obviously all NBA, all star. Those types of accolades can definitely get you there, but you have to stack those up for at least your entire prime, if not for 75, 80% of your career. So I think the superstar stuff, he's definitely somewhere around the cusp of that, but I don't think he's quite there yet. And, I'm trying to be realistic with these evaluations and whatnot. I just don't know if he has that ceiling. If he finally develops a 3-point shot to where he's knocking them down at percentages that are in the high 30s, then yeah, sure, he can kind of get there. But I also think the team he plays on and, the offense that they run, they share the ball so much that he's not really going to be out there padding stats or anything. And if we're being real, his clutch stats last year, it's going to be hard to repeat that. And that's fine. He was so good last year in the clutch. It's hard to expect him to repeat that. I obviously hope he does. That'd be huge for our team. But I'm just trying to set realistic expectations here. I've seen some of the rankings that ESPN, Bleacher Report, maybe CBS, I think, released one. And he's kind of in that 20 to 30 range of, top 20 to 30 players in the NBA. And I think that's fair, but I don't know if I'd call those guys superstars. And I don't know. If he leads the Kings to the 1 seed, puts up almost 30 points per game, almost 10 assists a game, then yeah, sure. But like I said, especially with the assists, Sabonis is going to get his, which obviously takes away from the amount of assists that De'Aaron Fox can stack up. So I don't know. If you're looking at stats and numbers and whatnot, it's going to be hard for him to put up those superstar numbers on this team. And like I said, that is fine. I care more about, and I'm sure he cares more about, just winning games. And I'm sure most Kings fans are on the same page here. We just want to win games. We want to win games in the playoffs. We don't really care if we have, quote unquote superstars. But like I said, I do think he'll make an all-star team. He's on the verge of making another all-NBA team. And he's definitely not reached his peak yet. But it's going to take a major leap for him to be in that, like, top 3 to 5 point guards in the league, top 10 scorers in the league, Like, especially with how talented the league is, man. Like, that is a tall task. But anyway, I digress. Great player, great guy. Wouldn't want to have anybody else leading this team. And now that I've talked about some of the awards, some of the hardware that I think he can get this year, let's dive into more of the fan side of things, more of the feelings that I want to feel this year. And what I mean by that, well, first of all, I want to see a fire in his eyes. And I know that sounds super corny, kind of like Disney Channel ish, but what I mean by that is I want it to be obvious how badly he wants this team to be contenders. I know he's a chill dude, but you see how fired up his teammates get when he yells or starts talking shit. And obviously, fans go dumb when they see that too. But I want to see more of that. I want to see that swagger. And this next one goes for the entire team, but I want to see him be the defender that he was in the playoffs. And obviously, we're not going to see him giving his 110% on that side of the floor every single night. But our defense has to get better. And I think it will. I mean, it'd be hard to get any worse. But as this team's leader, he's got to lead by example. And he's so quick and so smart. He can stay in front of anybody. He can jump passing lanes. He can slip by screens. He's got it in him. It's really just an effort thing. And it's not like he's being lazy. I feel like he just saves his energy for the offensive side of the floor. And it's easy for me to say these things as a fan sitting on my couch, but that's just what I've seen. Overall, I think the points per game are going to be there. It'd be nice to see that 3-point percentage go up around like 35%, but I think at this point, like, he's just not a sniper, which is absolutely fine, especially in this offense, and especially when he's one of the best, if not the best, finishers in the game. And my lord, that elbow jumper is as automatic a shot as I've ever seen. Try saying that 3 times fast, I dare you. So that one took me about 10 tries. Anyway, all that to say, we can live without the elite 3-point production. And if I'm being honest, I was actually kind of surprised to see how low his 3-point percentage was last year. Just watching the games, I would have thought it'd be higher, but maybe that's just because he sinks 2 or 3 in clutch time, and those are the shots that stick with me. But yeah, honestly, don't care much about the stats because I know they're going to be fine. I'm going to care more about where he leads this team and what type of fire we see in him and in this team. As long as he leads us to the playoffs, I'll be happy. If we win a series or two, I'll be ecstatic.